Without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-797-37117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR-LIVE. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Making progress. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Dr. Anthony Fauci with President Trump's coronavirus task force says the mitigation efforts the U.S. is taking to stop the spread of COVID-19 are beginning to work despite the high number of deaths.
Even though we've had a really bad week last week, remember when I was speaking to you before, I was saying this was really a bad week. There's still going to be a lot of deaths, but we're starting to see in some areas now that kind of flattening, particularly in a place that was a hot spot like New York.
Dr. Fauci also saying he spoke with members of the Congressional Black Caucus today to discuss the impacts of the illness on the black community and how to get resources to where vulnerable people are. There are over 572,000 cases of the virus in the U.S., with over 23,000 deaths. 6 Northeast governors putting together an action plan for when and how to restart the economy.
Andrew Cuomo of New York says this kind of collaboration has not been done before.
But that doesn't mean you can't ensure public confidence that you're doing everything you can.
Ned Lamont of Connecticut says the communication will guarantee a coordinated approach to recovery.
Listen to the experts, as you say, and make sure you don't pull the trigger too early.
But Tom Wolfe of Pennsylvania says it's more than the restart. It's about
how we're going to restore the sense of hope that this pandemic has taken away from so many of us.
Health and economic officials will be part of each state's working group toward the restart. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
California, Washington State, and Oregon also working on a way to open back up.
The state of California is putting together a bottom-up plan, a framework for targeted interventions and easing of restrictions in the state to allow us to toggle between approaching issues on the population basis versus on an individual basis.
Governor Gavin Newsom, America is listening to Fox News.
There's enough uncertainty to go around right now.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Hello? The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show and we're in a snow globe and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, the current reigning, defending, and unarguably the number one show on Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights from 6 to 8 Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and my co-host from deep inside his attic bunker, quarantined in Connecticut, is Dave Weiss. Dave, are you there?
I am. I'm here now.
Good start. No, glad that you're joining me. Hope everything is well for you. We also have joining us Jason Lingren. Jason, are you there?
I am indeed. Hello, everyone.
Awesome to hear your voice again. And we have a special guest tonight. I called the show Allegedly Dave's because we've got two Daves. Might get a little confusing, but we've got Allegedly Dave Murphy, 25. Dave, what's up, my friend?
All good over here. How's it going with you guys?
It's all good. Just glorious. I feel so free. I feel free here in the United States. So how things where you're at?
Well, where I'm at in particular, nothing much has changed really, except there are a few less humans walking around. But, I live off-grid in the middle of nowhere. So, not much changed for me.
Yeah, you probably haven't noticed much of a change at all. But I agree with you. There seems to be far less humans walking around. And Dave Weiss was just telling me about his supermarket trip. Dave, are you outnumbered by the mask-wearing buffoons?
I use the supermarket as my barometer of how it's going. And I imagine, God, this has got to be going away. The weather's getting nice. And then I go to the supermarket today, and it was 80% people wearing masks. Dirty looks from everyone, that I wasn't wearing a mask. And the shelves were more empty than I've ever seen them, ever, which kind of freaked me out a little bit. Besides that, it's kind of just seeing what's going to happen. I can't figure out whether they're going to push this for a couple more weeks or deep into the summer. I don't know.
Jason, you have any comments about what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, actually, I just came back from a W Mart. I had to get some kitty food and a few other small items. I would say it was about 30-40% mask wearers. People are a little grim, I guess is a good way of putting it. Like I try little social experiments like smiling at people and things like that. But most people won't smile back anymore. I used to get a lot better response than that. But yeah.
Jason, did you know that if you actually look at somebody in the eyes, you can give them corona?
Oh, is that how that works now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you're within 10 feet and you look at them, it gives them corona.
I didn't notice anybody doing the I'm spooked out of my mind, not going to go near you kind of thing. There were plenty of times I was in an aisle looking at a couple of things and people would go by me and they weren't like, ah! So maybe they're just getting tired of it in this area at least.
Oh, man, on my walks, and people will physically go off the walk path and into the dirt to stay 6 feet away from you. So it's definitely happening here. And I was pretty sad today driving. We always do our morning drive, go by the hospital to see what's going on. And I passed by our local farmer's market. I've been wondering when it's going to open again. And there was a big sign that said farmer's market closed for 2020. So,
ooh, that sucks.
I was not too happy about that because that's where we get all of our food. And so I'm going to have to reach out to that farm that I was telling everybody about that, doesn't use machinery and doesn't use obviously GMO seeds and all that stuff, and try and reach out to them and see if they'll be selling straight from the farm. No idea at this point. So.
I might be, not representing England very well, but where I've, interacted with people, I see a kind of lax implementation of all this, because my social experiment is that I would purposely stand, within the 6 feet, and see what happens, and nothing happens usually. People aren't really wearing masks so much. You see the odd few. A few people just have like a scarf. They're wearing a scarf outside. They put it around their face.
Right.
So it's like a kind of, yeah, okay, I suppose we've got to make the effort. And so they just put a sort of half-hearted, attempt at it.
So, Dave, what is your opinion of what's going on? I love your work, and I was just watching before this show a little bit of your recent video called "I'm Not a Doctor," which I love because at least you put in there some forms that people can use as far as vaccinations, which I love because I have a feeling that's where some of this is going, that pretty soon it's going to be required that you have a vaccination to even get on a plane or to even go to the supermarket. But where do you think this is all headed?
Well, the thing is, most people in Flat Earth, started truth-seeking with the Flat Earth. I started with 9/11, watching it right there and then figuring out there's something wrong with it. So I've had this path through, the New World Order, the monetary system, legal system, medical system, all these different establishments. And so I've got a kind of overall view. So I've been expecting this to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen because of some crazy killer virus thing, but we knew this sort of thing was going to occur. So when it did, it's like, okay, here we go. So they've always had plans to bring in things like this cashless society, the kind of Chinese style societal construct, and even this idea of social credit, where we all police ourselves. Right. This is the way they've been heading, because at the end of the day, the agenda is the extermination of at least 90% of us. That's the overarching agenda. And all these things like, 5G, microchipping, cashless society, Agenda 21, all these things are just means to that end. Yeah. If they can get us all locked in our concrete boxes, not reacting and responding to anybody else, just like, I don't know if any of you have seen that Black Mirror episode where everyone is their job is riding bicycles to generate energy. Anyone seen that one?
I have.
Right. Well, it's quite a prophetic episode, because that's what they've got in store for us. Herd us together in mega cities. So we end up living in this like little cubicle where all we do is, watch TV, play video games, and then go to work. But we don't really interact with anyone else. That way we can be picked off, without any of us knowing what's really going on.
Dave,
and that's where we're going.
Dave, what do you think? They have their plans, and I'll agree with you that what you said, those are their plans, but they can't achieve these plans without our approval, without us not saying no to that. Are you on board with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's one of the rules of this universe. Right. That you can't force stuff on people, or you can, but there's a consequence to it. Whatever you put into this universe, it comes back at you. So the way they get around that is by getting our agreement first. And so, if you want to hurt somebody, and you ask them, "Do you mind if I hurt you?" and you say, "Yeah, that's all right," then there's no comeback to that. There's no sort of, I hate that word karmic, but there's no karmic response to that. So at every stage, they get our agreement, and I think we kind of got it slightly wrong when we say about predictive programming. It's actually, what we call predictive programming is essentially getting our consent. And how it relates to, right now, well, most of you might have noticed there's we're experiencing a little, should we say, a lull. They're still sort of amping up the fear in the media, but there's a definite kind of lull right now. We're waiting for the next thing.
Right, because I think what the media is saying is not what's matching in reality. Now, my question is will reality catch up to it, or will people recognize that what the media is saying isn't the case? So, my question to you would be, excuse me, what you said about getting rid of 90% of us. Do you think people then are getting sick, and this will continue to rise with people actually getting sick?
Well, again, you're looking at the short-term view, the normal human view. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what they do, they look at the long term. They look at, they plan 100 years in advance or something. So no, it's not going to happen like immediately, as we see in our short viewpoint. The next stage. Well, let me go back a second.
Plan, right? It's a longer term plan, meaning that what comes out of this is that we're going to have, I forgot what the number was last week, 20 million jobs lost in the United States in that week, or 20 million people filing for unemployment. That's a crazy number. And when you start thinking about the amount of people, children that will go hungry, families that will be destroyed, how many suicides will come from that. So it's a way at the ends that is a longer term than just, there's going to be so many deaths from this pandemic.
Right, but I'd like to go back a second just to this lull period. Mm-hmm. When I was a free man on the land, I'd go up against judges and stuff, and go to court. What I noticed was that the judge would make some kind of pronouncement, or make some kind of order that I'd supposedly have to bow down to, and then he'd pause. And it took me a while to realise that what he was actually doing, he was making me an offer. And that pause was my opportunity to object or, make my response. He'd cover up that pause, by, shuffling papers or searching for a particular paper or looking around the courtroom for the next person to talk to. But he'd always give that pause. So right now, the governments of the world are making all these pronouncements and, passing this legislation, which isn't actually law. And they're, right now we're in that pause moment where, it's our opportunity to object to it. But, most of the muggles out there are, busy, sitting at home watching Netflix and playing video games. So their response, well, there's no response. And there's a maxim in law that says silence is consent.
Yeah, David, it's genius how they've got us, agreed to stay home. Well, not a law. We've just agreed to it. So people are staying home, stay apart. Don't look at each other. Don't talk to each other. If you're out in public, cover your mouth so there's no communication whatsoever, facial expressions. And they have us, quivering in fear, watching their hypnotic news. Not that any of us are doing that. But I exactly see that. It's the pause. And I just think that if enough people, I don't even think that many, pushed back, they would be like, okay, they keep this entire time. They're like, we're thinking of shutting down some businesses. Pause. All right, let's shut them down. We're thinking of doing this. And they just kept squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. And which we all found odd was liquor stores were an essential service. Even though liquor kills, probably more people than they're claiming the virus does. But think about it. If they early on said we're shutting liquor stores, they were afraid, in my opinion, that people would have pushed back, and then they would have had to say okay and backed off, and that would have broken the spell. And people would be like, wait, if we push back, they stop. But people haven't realized that yet. And I think we're getting to that point where people are going to be like, it's just too nice. We're going to go out. And then I think that they're going to have to pull back in the next couple of weeks.
I would like to offer the notion that enough people have protested, and they seem to be loosening slightly. And I say that for a couple of reasons. But one of the first things I noticed on Friday was a news article, and funny enough, as much as I normally ignore the mainstream news, and this is something Crow and I have been talking about pretty much every day, I noticed that they're backing off on their predictions of deaths now. Like they're kind of, it may not be quite as bad as we thought. So I'm wondering, I'm throwing this out there, maybe enough of us have been squawking, because there are a lot of people squawking about it, that maybe they are going to back off a little bit, and this isn't going to be the complete takedown of everything yet.
I'm not so sure, because...
I'm not so sure. but I like a couple.
What I'm noticing is that, they'll make these, doom-laden numbers, all these numbers like saying, oh, so many hundreds of thousands or thousands of people are going to die. And then later on, they'll come back and say, no, actually, it's a lot less than that. But the point is the damage is done, and that damage is psychological for anybody who heard the first number. Doesn't matter if they go back and say, no, it's a lot less than that. The psychological damage is done.
The threat of the big number is what caused people to stay inside their houses and give up their freedoms.
Sure, and it's a bit more than that, and this is where it's genius, really. The television, its job is to create false reality in the mind. That's it. And they've been pumping us full of all this false reality, false experience.
Yeah.
That now is being triggered. So as soon as we've seen all these movies like Contagion and all these scenarios that we've never have experienced in real life. But as soon as they showed us a few trigger phrases and some trigger pictures, we fall into line. We sort of act on that false experience, and as Dave said, we march into our houses and we lock the door and we keep our social distance and stuff because that's the false experience we've been fed.
Dave, I've been saying, like, if the news came out today and said the Wanto Quapaltopolis is coming, beware, nobody would have a reaction because nobody knows what the Wanto Quintopolopis is. There's nothing in your memory that will trigger anything. But when they say there's a pandemic virus coming, you got 12 Monkeys, you got Bruce Willis, and then Andromeda Strain, you have Contagion, you have all of these movies that have the exact same plot of what's going on right now that just put you into fear. Bam, they got you. Total mind control.
But they've also got you because those films showed you the reaction to it. So
right. That's how you react. You remember the film and the reaction and all the imagery. It's all there for you to be mind controlled with. You're programmed.
Yep, and that's why they call it programming. Because they've just fed you this false reality that you will replay on cue, and they've given us the cue. The mass of humanity are indoors right now because they're following the cue.
Did you notice what he just said? They gave us Q.
I haven't seen any people being arrested. There's no good people or no.
They're keeping it undercover, Jeran. They're taking them out by the thousands out from the tunnels.
I think
and burying them in mass graves.
There's no good people in power. So there's no good people being arrested by those good people in power. I think that's another psyop is, there's the white hats in the power. And you can't get to those levels of government unless you're a dirtbag, in my opinion. So I just don't think there's no hero coming to save us, Q fans. Now, again, do I have hope?
I had that argument with somebody last night about the whole Q thing. I was like, look, man, the only Q that exists is the one that annoys Captain Picard. Just get the frick over it already. There is no Q that is real. This is nonsense. This is more distraction.
Right. Having to post cryptic messages on 8chan. Yeah, I don't think that's our savior.
Yeah, I've been saying this as well, that over the last 15 years, I've noticed that there's always this, this shadowy force going on in the background working for us. And everyone sort of gets behind it, and it's messages, we're working for you, just wait.
Can you think of a better way to keep people complacent?
Exactly. I remember with the... was it the Zeitgeist movement? That was one of them as well. Just wait, it's coming. And so all the good people who would do something are paralyzed, until, because they think there's somebody more important than them, out there working for them. So, I'll wait and see what happens. So
all you need for people to exist is good, decent people to do nothing.
Exactly. And I keep harping on about this 1990 rule. Has anyone heard it?
Yeah, you mentioned it, and thanks, by the way, for sending that message for the 200th episode. I think both Jason and Dave were on, and yeah, you kind of gave us the thing, but go ahead and tell everybody again. I really liked it, and glad you put me in the 1%.
Well, you obviously are in the 1%. The thing is, it's a marketing kind of marketing rule that in any group of people, you get 1% who are the doers, the active people who actually go out and actually, do experiments or make videos, do things. You get 9% of contributors, people who kind of help, participate, contribute in some way. And then you get the 90% who just sit back and consume. And that seems to work for any group of people. And now I've forgotten why I'm talking about the 1990 rule.
Well, you were just saying that, obviously there's the people that do stuff and there's the people that sit back and consume. And right now in this time period, there's a lot of people sitting back and doing nothing. So we were talking about, all it takes for evil to exist is for good, decent people to sit back and do nothing.
Yeah, that's it. And it's that 1% that get paralyzed, by this idea that there is somebody who is more important than us, actually doing something in the background, with more access than we have. Right. So the 1% get paralyzed by this idea of of Q,
right? Because they're thinking, just sitting here doing videos. I'm just sitting here talking on a Monday Night Raw show. I'm just doing my Friday lounges. Crow's just doing his shows. It's sometimes we want to think that there's somebody on our side that's working at the highest levels. That's why Q is so appealing to many people, because they are people that want the best. They are people that want good, and they want to hope that there's somebody out there doing more than we are, because all we're doing is talking about it, trying to wake people up. And the sad thing is we may be it.
Well, we are it. That's the thing. Okay. And again, when I was doing the Flat Earth European tour, it dawned on me when I was talking to people about about the Flat Earth. They would always ask the question, why? Why are they doing this?
Right.
And I ended up honing my answer, because what it comes down to is, you don't realize how much power you have in this world. The world is actually smaller than you think, and you are bigger in it than you can possibly imagine. And this is what they're afraid of. Yeah. I say that what a person can have, an idea and completely change the world with that idea. You can stand in the street one day and start saying something, and other people hear it, and all of a sudden you've got a revolution. And this is what they don't want to have happen. So this is part of it. It's reducing your power by psychologically reducing you, so that you don't realize you have that power. I don't think that makes sense.
That is exactly it. The biggest psyop of all is that you have no power and that you can't do anything. And if you truly believe that, then it's absolutely true. But people don't realize that their thoughts create their reality. And, your biggest enemy is your own thoughts, is your own negative thoughts. So when you think you can't have, you don't have, you'll never have, you have no power, those are all negative thoughts that are creating that reality for you. It's literally that simple.
Yep. And we were having this conversation earlier on. They need us, because I'm not going to go there right now, but this bloodline that is in control. One thing they don't have is creative intelligence. They use the same methodologies over and over and over again. The same, problem reaction solution, boiling frog style, that sort of thing. Okay.
Hold on right there. We'll be right back from the break, guys, and we'll talk more about how bad they need us. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We get Allegedly Dave and your phone calls. Come on up, I'm going over.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? iLife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to iLife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
All right, welcome back. Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got Dave Weiss, Jason Lingren, myself, and our guest from off the grid in England, Allegedly Dave. And before the break, Dave, you were telling us about how they need us and they have no creative force. They can't make anything new for themselves. And yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's right. This bloodline, they were gifted with a kind of cunning, a logical intelligence, and they've been very, very clever in manipulating us. But as I said, they have no creative intelligence, so they can't come up with anything new. So they play the same tricks on us over and over again with, problem, reaction, solution, gradualism, boiling frog style changes, the bait and switch, but they need us to help them bring about, their plans. So that is where the real predictive programming is. They show us a vision of something and they keep drumming it into us, and we create it. They need us to power, their system, and that's what we do. We just sort of blindly give our energy to help build all this. So that's what we've got to stop. We've got to stop watching the television. We've got to stop sort of, blindly going along with whatever they want us to do.
Well, I think for me, it's a little bit more than cunning intelligence that they have. It's more than some amazing foresight. It's the fact that they're psychopaths. I mean, that's really where they get their power from. Is that,
and they're getting help.
Yeah, and we're just regular people, and we don't want to do anything like that. We don't want to lie to people. We don't want to subject people to put our foot on their throats. Those that do rise in the ranks, they become head politicians. They become these big names in the media, whatever you want to say, and they're able to control the world through their psychopathy.
Well, as I said, they're getting help because. A lot of people might not sort of appreciate the spiritual aspect of this, but these guys, they do these rituals. They go to Bohemian Grove and sacrifice people and stuff. They're not doing that for fun. Yeah.
You know what blew my mind, and I've known this for a while, but just the more I think about it, Bill Gates from hell. His parents were the founders of Planned Parenthood, I believe, and the headquarters of Planned Parenthood is designed like an Aztec temple where they sacrifice children.
Yep.
Oh, there's a big surprise.
Right. I mean, it doesn't get any more blatantly in your face than that.
Yeah, the only thing I sometimes wonder is if that's actually giving them any power or if it's just a mental power. Because I always look at it and I say that if I was born in a family that did stuff like that, and they told us in order to keep our control, in order to keep our riches, in order to keep our power, we have to sacrifice these babies on every Thursday night or whatever. And you go there and you
Wednesday
go on,
night.
Wednesday night. And you watch these sacrifices. That would alone give you the belief that those things help. Where I'm not positive that those things do help them. I just think it's a mindset that they have, and they think they need to keep doing it and stay in control. So who knows?
I mean, Jeran, how do you know unless you sacrifice a kid each night of the week and see which one works?
I'll pass. Thanks.
I'm sure they have handbooks for this stuff that get passed out at the Rockefeller Mansion.
They really done a number with this COVID thing because they have people believing the official story, and then the people that are starting to wake up are like, hey, there was a lab in China and it was a bioengineered thing, and they don't care which one of those stories you buy because they both put you in the same place, in fear and needing a vaccine.
And need a mask.
Yeah, and that's how they've got us going. And then I just want to bring up real quick, we all saw David Icke's presentation. And I'll say it was a great presentation. He took all of the data that we've all been talking about for the last 3-4 weeks, put it together in a very good presentation that it's good, but it brought everybody to London Real's website. It was mirrored everywhere. It got taken down. He got pulled off, so that makes him even more credible. They're trying to hide it, and now London Real is pushing that it's a bioweapon, it's all this old stuff, and just a shout out to Brian Stavely and Karen B. They did a stream on it today, just destroying Brian at London Real and David Icke. So if anyone hasn't seen that, I believe he calls it the underwear dance or something like that. Worth the watch on the Brian Stavely YouTube channel.
Well, it's the same thing as a controlled opposition. Yeah, that they realize that people are going to wake up. They realize it, and they know people are going to wake up. So they have to put somebody in front, their own people in front, so that they can, lead us off back to their story. And that's what happened there, because David Icke, yes, as you said, he put together his usual slick presentation of what we're finding out. But he did that like 2 weeks after most other people did, But
well, he took it from the video that I put up for Dr. Kaufman, and he's getting all the credit for it.
He mentions it.
That's it. He gets the credit for it.
My first viral video because of that.
He gets the credit for it. People start following him, and they're following, as Dave said, they're following London Real now because, they presented it, and now he's going back to, the usual story.
He's doing that. He's basically pushing vaccines. He's talking about 9/11, that there's still airplanes. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of brain trauma programming he's introducing to the new people. The London Real, David Icke, and the controllers, they don't care about all of us that are listening to this show because we're too late. We're past them. They don't have our minds. And so they just care about the other people that are starting to pay attention, and he reeled them all into his pen, and now they're in his pen. I don't think it's going to work. I think, it will work for some, but he's just like, Alex Jones, where Alex Jones was one of the people that woke me up, but I somehow was able to escape his pen and proceed farther. So I think it's going to backfire because people are waking up, and there's enough of us out there that are putting content out there and talking to people on the streets, on the internet, that are making a difference.
Again, the predictive programming has been out for that as well, because the second Matrix film, the strange little speech by the architect that most people just kind of glossed over because it didn't seem that important. But what it was actually saying is that, if you leave this element inside the Matrix that starts to understand what the Matrix is and starts to, push back against it, well, then if you leave them alone, they're going to grow and then destroy the whole Matrix. You've got to let them out of the Matrix and let them continue doing their thing outside the Matrix, but kind of sealed off from the Matrix, and then deal with them afterwards. And that's what they've done with the Truth Movement.
It's kind of let it exist on the side.
Yes, and they've left us with social media, which effectively turns into an echo chamber. Their algorithms on, say, Facebook means that whenever you post now, you only kind of reach the people that already know what you're talking about.
They've certainly done that well. Right, exactly. We only speak to the people that are already subscribed.
Right. So they've sealed us off in our Zion, like in the Matrix. So we can liberate the odd person every now and again, but essentially they've sealed us off, and that's what they were telling us in the Matrix.
Yeah, the odd person every once in a while will come aboard, and then the whole time some of this percentage will get shamed back into the Matrix.
Right.
Which is kind of how it works. And that's the whole 90% thing that I've been talking about, is that they have the 90%, 10%. There's 10% of us. There's 90% that will effectively police us through social behavior. I mean, it's just like Dave said. Now he's getting the dirty look for not wearing the mask.
Mm.
He's not, he's not following what the media is saying. Therefore, he's going to be socially distanced from those who are.
And look what happens when we start speaking on sort of social media and putting videos out. The Agent Smiths turn up and start trolling us.
Well, I was telling Dave too that today, or no, it wasn't today, it was a couple of days ago, that James O'Keefe put out a video of him going and getting tested, and he was talking to these. They were Army workers that were basically doing the testing, but asking them, is it as crazy as the media is telling us? And they were all saying, no, the media is hyping it up. No, it's just a harsh flu. Well, when he posted that video, of course, Facebook and other places pulled it down because they were told to do so. There was basically rats, tattletales, saying, hey, this is putting out misinformation. And, of course, his videos got pulled. When what is wrong with going to get tested for coronavirus and talking to the people doing the testing and then posting that video? You're not even allowed to do citizen journalism like that anymore if it doesn't go with the mainstream, they'll pull your video.
Well, yeah, I mean, as you said, my last video was an excerpt out of my book that covers vaccines and stuff. And one of the first comments was a troll saying, "Yeah, I've reported it. I've reported this video." Right. So that's how they do it. They, these guys we've got to report this one, and they pick up on it and pull it down.
Right. So all you have left is the standard narrative. Pretty soon that's the videos people can find. And yeah, sure, they can't get to all of our videos, so there's going to be a couple up, but by not promoting them in any kind of way or not allowing them to show up and recommended based on people's searches, then all we're talking to, we're basically preaching to the choir.
Yeah, exactly it. So one of the things I was talking to Dave about earlier is that I watched one of the Globebusters episodes dealing with what's going on, and no criticism to anybody on Globebusters, but I felt like it wasn't given the seriousness that it deserves, because this is the most serious thing that has ever happened to the world. This is on par with the threat of nuclear annihilation. If that was real, this is it.
Dave, what's amazing is none of us are taking this serious enough. All of us. I mean, none of us. This should be the only thing on our list to take care of. But people are have all different levels of involvement. But I don't think any of us are taking it seriously enough.
No. The implication of what we're finding out now should floor us, should stagger us, because it implies that the whole of our society, every aspect of society has been engineered from the start. And it's all been leading to this moment. Well, if not this moment, then, if this is the dress rehearsal, which I'm starting to believe it isn't. It feels like this is the one now. So it means it's all been leading to this moment. And the terrifying thing is that that it is only us that is opposing it, because most of the planet is at home playing PlayStation.
Yeah, and I'm just so hoping that's not the case. I mean,
it's not, Jeran. Most are playing Xbox.
Right.
It could be just all wishful thinking, but I'm really hoping you're right that this. Well, I'm not hoping you're right. I'm hoping this isn't their final straw. That this isn't the final play. But I'm hoping we have more time, that we can still talk to people, that we can still get out of this. But you're right. As time goes on, you're kind of looking at it like, geez. Well, is this going to be their final play?
The one quick note, the depopulation that they're looking for, and you asked earlier, is this the play? Well, you guys all saw the video today about the guy that took the population of the world and made a pile of rice, and then he showed how much all these different things, how much rice, and when he gets down to Corona, it's 1 grain, right? Did you guys see that video?
No.
Oh, it's an amazing video. I'll get the link in a minute. But basically, he had a pile of rice, like a gallon of rice poured out onto a paper. And he goes, heart disease kills this many people a year. And it was like a tablespoon of that. And then, smaller and smaller and smaller down, stroke and whatever it was. And then it goes, and the coronavirus, and it showed 1 grain of rice because in relation to the population of the world. And that's what they shut the entire world down for. But I want to take it one step further. They're lying about the corona. No one has died of corona. It's 0 grains of rice. It's 0. But they're lying and telling us it's 1 grain. And they shut the entire world down for that. And people can't see this.
Do you think people will be able to see it in, like I said, I think this is what I keep holding on to, is that now we're seeing them talk about like cases dropping. It was going to be 2-some million died in the United States. It was going to be 200,000, then 100,000. Now it's down to 60,000 mortality rate or whatever. They set up that whole Javits Center, which is not being needed. They set up the whole Central Park hospitals and the tents that are completely empty. That's why I appreciate some of the work that people are doing, like Lincoln Kareem, who's going out and writing to these places every day in New York and showing us that what the media is saying is not what's happening. Eventually, people will catch on to that unless you start putting fake bodies in those hospitals.
No, I
Didn't
think
they do
there's
that with the dummies? What? Weren't they doing that with the dummies? Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there. Gotta love this lag.
What dummies?
Oh, some of the videos that have blatant, like, they're probably the kind they use for learning CPR and things like that. Like they are using fake bodies to say, oh, this is a patient here. BS it is.
Right. But I'm talking about these hospitals that supposedly are overflowing. I mean, how many times can a citizen journalist, go and show us that those hospitals are not overrun? If you really want people to be okay with having their livelihood stolen, if you want people to be okay with staying in their house for very long, again, a month, 2 months, people can survive that. If it goes further than that, people are going to start wanting to see the reason why they're losing everything. And if they're being, if they find out they're being lied to by the media and that these hospitals aren't full, if James O'Keefe is doing videos like he's doing where these Army guys are saying, no, this is not as serious as the media is making it sound. It's just precautionary. We're doing all these things for precautionary methods. Well, why did you make this hospital in Central Park? Well, it's because of precaution. We're just making sure that in case the hospitals get overrun. But if the hospitals never do get overrun, then I can see people eventually not standing up for this or not standing for it.
Yeah, but what you're missing is the second half of this. I did say that we're in the lull period right now. Well, once they're ready, and I think this is where the 5G network comes in. Once they're ready and they've got the 5G towers all in place, because I don't know if you realise that while humanity is locked indoors, 5G towers, the installation of 5G towers has been going on they've been cracking ahead like crazy, putting up these towers. Now, is it really an essential service to install 5G? Apparently it is. So
are you seeing that everywhere, or you're hearing that a couple places? Because I've only seen a couple videos about that, but it's not happening in my town. It's not happening around me. I'm not seeing any new towers going up. So I'm just wondering if that's... You see that going on everywhere? That 5G towers are going up everywhere?
Because I've got to say, I live out in the middle of nowhere, essentially. And I was taking a ride round a couple of days ago, and I found a tower across, the other side of a hill to me, where it wasn't there, let's say 3 months ago. So these towers are popping up, and they're being disguised as well. A lot of them are being disguised that you wouldn't even know that there was something odd. But
I saw two towers going in. One at the Westchester Airport. That's suspicious or not? I don't know. And then one just along the road somewhere. But I was just noticing how they didn't have to really cone off the road. There was barely any cars on the road, and they were cranking these things out.
Yeah. Plus, they could be doing it at night or anything like that. I mean, nobody would even notice. But if people are seeing that, I implore you to make a YouTube video. It's free. It's very easy to make a video with your phone and put this kind of stuff online.
Yeah. So, we know that the frequencies that used by 5G, namely 60 gigahertz, it affects or is absorbed by oxygen. And it actually changes the structure of oxygen so that our hemoglobin can't grab hold of it anymore. So if you're essentially in the path of this beam or in the full strength of it, then you simply can't breathe anymore and you suffocate. And just like in Wuhan, you saw people falling over, keeling over in the streets. That's what will happen. And if you're on the edge of it, then you get severe flu-like symptoms.
So what are the elite, what are the powers that should not be? How are they avoiding that? If that's true, if 5G in buildings, I mean, think about 5G being installed in government buildings. So all the government officials are going to start falling dead because of 5G?
No. Just look at one of the 5G frequencies is 95 gigahertz. Now that's what's used in U.S. military's active denial system. Yeah.
Right.
Literally, you can target this beam. It's a beam weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use it like a shotgun, or you can use it like a sniper rifle. And also you can use it at a low level, so that doesn't hurt you today or tomorrow, but in 5 years, all of a sudden you've got cancer or whatever. Yeah, it's a precise weapon or a crowd control. So yes, they can use it any way they like. So they can keep it away from, their friends, but they can target the rest of us. And as you said, they're psychopaths. So at the end of the day, they don't care if they die themselves, as long as they get you.
Not too fun to think about, but yeah, I mean, I just always go back to that as I picture, okay, let's say we're in control and we want to use 5G. I just don't know how we would protect ourselves. Yeah, you can use it as a beam-like weapon, like we've seen them use to, move crowds away, things like that. But I just don't understand how they can avoid their own unless they know on certain days, hey, on Saturdays we don't go out in public and we turn these beams up or whatever. And I think eventually somebody would leak some of that out somehow. But again,
well, look at that weapon, active denial system weapon. When they show it, they show a little crowd of people who get hit with it and run away. But the camera crew and other people on the side don't get affected.
Right, because it was shot at a certain direction.
Yes. So they've been doing that for decades. They've been, aiming their beam weapons low level at certain communities.
So it could be at events, it could be to the slums, it could be, downtown markets, things like that.
Yes.
Do you think that accounts for the whole targeted individuals thing too? Because I've had people ask me about that, and I've never really had a good answer to give it to them because it's so hard to prove.
Well, it's been sort of revealed that the ladies that used to protest at Greenham Common in England at the US Army base, I think, they were being targeted with microwaves, and they started getting sick and getting cancer and stuff. But it was revealed later on that that's what they were doing.
That worries me about mind control. That's the thing. I mean, if they can do that, then it goes from there. It's kind of unending, where they could beam certain messages into people's heads, whatever they want.
Well, the mind control thing really bothers me because we know, I mean, there's documented stuff going all the way back to at least the 40s that they were messing with that stuff. So knowing just how insane, over-the-top, powerful digital technology is now, it is kind of a scary thing. It's like they probably know how to mess with you just by flickering the lights a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, I got one of those EMF meters.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, these meters they don't pick up 5G. They don't pick up 60 gigahertz. So, and I found out the only meters you can get that do cost thousands and thousands. So,
I thought the one Bob recommended does, Jeran and David.
No, it only goes up to 10.
Yeah.
But Bob seems to think that that's enough to just tell what's going on. I mean, and he doesn't think a lot is being transmitted at 60 gigahertz yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. And he says eventually when it does, then we've got problems because you're going to be out of luck anyway. Right?
Right.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Plus the concept that if it's running, that it'll hit the lower frequencies anyway. Is that the idea? And
then we'll truly be tinfoil hat wearers. And
it's like Jiffy Pop.
Exactly. We've got about a minute and a half until the next break. And Dave, you going to stay with us so we can take some calls?
Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. So if people have questions go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead. Yeah. So we'll take calls and questions. That'll be great. Sure. Talk about the mind control. Have you guys all seen the multiple, I'm talking dozens now, of hospital workers, doctors and nurses in these overflowing hospitals doing choreographed dance numbers?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Really?
It's unbelievable. I'll
because they're bored and they've got so much time on their hands.
It's unreal. But they do this at all of the other hoax shootings, and and stuff, and it's mockery. I was talking to RV about it, Russian Vids, and he says they do it for mockery. I just wondering if there's
so it's like the big middle finger to us kind of a thing.
Say again?
Is it like the big middle finger to us kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Reminded me of the CERN dances.
I'll put it in the chat.
All right, don't go anywhere, guys. Be right back.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
On defense, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says he did what needed to be done to stop the spread of COVID-19.
The president turned to video clips of coverage showing governors and others praising his proactivity. He added that citizens are preventing spread, dropping projections of up to 120,000 deaths.
And we're going to be hopefully way, way below that number.
Also, infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci discussed a meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus on the disparity of deaths among minorities. Fauci said the critical step is
getting the resources where the vulnerable are to be able to get testing done, to be able to get the appropriate identification.
The president also responded to a rumor saying Dr. Fauci would not be fired from his team. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
6 Northeast governors, including New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, forming a coalition to figure out how to reopen the economy.
We have done good things by working together. We've shared ideas and plans, and we've shared in going through this challenge. And this partnership, this council that we're forming here recognizes that simple fact.
Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has said that they will need to consult with experts and look at data to determine the best course. The White House also putting together its own task force to look at how to reopen the country. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner had initially been listed as part of the panel, but the White House now says they will not take part. California Governor Gavin Newsom says he will announce a detailed plan tomorrow on lifting restrictions. He says they will be made without political pressure. Today, Newsom reported a continuation of encouraging data showing a stabilization in hospitalizations and in patients needing intensive care treatment. America is listening to Fox News.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Don't stick all the lies. Whispers from afar.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. If you guys want to get in line to ask a question or make a comment, tell us what's going on, where you're at, 213-233-3998. I think the phone number is on the screen, 213-233-3998. I'll bring up that video, Dave. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Oh, the dancing?
Yeah.
It's yeah, bring it up. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's people dying. They're putting bodies in trucks and freezer trucks because they don't have room for them in the hospital morgues. Where are the parents? Where are the families of these bodies of dead people? And these doctors and nurses should be in shambles, but instead they're doing choreographed dance numbers, which is it's just mockery. And there's something to it. Something. Jeran, are we still on YouTube or no?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Should we not be?
Yeah, no, we should be. I just wasn't sure because I'm not seeing the video. Oh, there it is.
There it is. It's a little delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, these are. I saw this whole video, and by the way, we're looking at a video put out by Red Pill Philosophy yesterday. If you want to check it.
It's a compilation of a whole bunch of different hospitals doing it. But this is even better. Like when they did it at the Orlando nightclub shooting, that they actually did it in the police station and you'd watch it and go, that's just a spoof video. But no, it's not. It's the chief of police and the people that were on the news. They're all in this video.
And I told you, I've talked to nurses that say they're being sent home. There's not enough work. All they're doing there is cleaning. They're being cut hours. Aren't you also talking to a nurse, Jason?
I have spoken to a friend of mine in Pennsylvania, and she's getting word from other people. A couple people I know here have tried to find out some stuff, and they're not really getting very good, straight answers anymore. The one thing I really want to know about, if you guys happen to know, is New York seems to be the one that they're saying is so bad. Does anybody have any solid evidence that things are so bad in New York?
No, we have solid evidence that things are not so bad. There's countless videos of people even going into the hospitals, and there's nothing going on.
Yeah, well, I watched the one cat that was going up and asking everybody, and there's just nothing going on. But I'm just trying to figure it all out myself. But when I spoke to our friend Billy Ray, who's also on TFR here, he said that things are going on. So I'm just trying to get a straight answer,
You can make someone believe that things are going on. You could have a busy hospital. There are normally in New York City hospitals, the beds are always almost all full. It's hard to get a bed sometimes, and now they're not.
Yeah. So during this time, less and less people actually in the hospitals, and even the floors that are, COVID only have 4, 5, 6 people in them.
Yeah. Dave, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I keep going back to the film Wag the Dog, where they manufactured a war on television and the American public believed it. And that's what's happening now.
It's being orchestrated. I kind of sit back and who's orchestrating this worldwide? What are they doing? Where's the control room for this? What's it like there? That just has me fascinated.
Bilderberg.
Oh yeah,
Bilderberg.
I mean, there must be a command central where people are orchestrating news reports and just everything that's going on. It must be nonstop. I just wonder where it is and who's running that.
I don't know, but that's the cleverness of it. They have a mobile command unit, and that's Bilderberg. Every year, they get the heads of all these corporations and the news outlets and everything, and give them their instructions for the year. And then it comes down to the pyramid structure.
It's disseminated.
Disseminated. Everyone knows what their job is, and off they go.
And then you've got the AP, which directs all news. I mean, how many agencies are actually running the news here?
There's only 2, Reuters and AP. Yeah, that's it. And they're both owned by the Rothschilds.
Exactly.
Hey, before we go to calls, has anyone been noticing Venus lately? There's been talk of this whole
very bright.
Is that Venus?
Is it Venus? Well, I have a electronic app that says that's Venus.
To my knowledge, you're talking about the giant bright star.
Yeah, right now, Jason, you should be able to see it. Bright, the brightest thing I've ever seen in the sky.
Yeah. That's how I've been seeing it for days. Yeah.
But how can we see it if it's on supposedly on the inside of the orbit?
Dave, the Earth is flat. It's not on the inside of the orbit.
Are you asking questions? Things we'd like to know.
Yeah, we got a couple of super chats I forgot to read. Jay Savoy said, 2 things are worth billions and billions of money on this earth, space and vaccines. What if I told you that the greatest law of all is viruses are contagious? I think he means aren't. But Witsit gets it. Thank you very much, Austin. He says, elites adhere to contractual natural law. Does radiation sickness from corona discharges equal coronavirus? Maybe they told us to our face as per usual. And then AM1 says they have to back off this now or go way bigger. I kind of agree. That's what I'm saying, is that at some point, either they need to fill the hospitals, and I'm not saying with real people. It could be with anything. But people, citizen journalists, are going out and showing us that these hospitals are not full. The Central Park hospitals, I looked at Lincoln Kareem's video today. They just have people standing outside. My wife and I go by the hospital every morning. Today, there was a guy basically reclining. Yesterday, there was 4 people in there, and I always mean nurses. There's never been a patient, and they're out there eating cake with no masks and no gloves. So, I mean, what's really going on?
Sorry, this is what I was trying to say about the lull, that it is coming, right? Because, as I said, once they've got the 5G network in place, they're going to trigger it. And you're going to start seeing people either keel over and die, or they're going to have severe flu-like symptoms. It's all going to be blamed on this coronavirus, and you're going to see those beds filling up. You're going to see those hollowed-out Walmarts that we've been talking about for years fill up. And in England we've got this place called the Excel Centre, which has a capacity for 8,000 beds. Yeah. There's nobody in hospitals, so you're going to start seeing those fill up, and then you're going to start seeing, the muggles going out and saying, "Please, we need the vaccine. We need the vaccine."
Right.
And then you're going to see the next wave of people. Actually, when the actual pandemic starts, when people, get the vaccine and start coming down with stuff.
It's cracking me up hearing a real British person say the word muggle.
So I think that's what the super chatter was saying about they have to back off this now or go way bigger. You're saying they're going to go way bigger. I'm still holding on to hope that they're going to back this off. Now could be.
I'm thinking they're gonna back it off either anywhere until the fall, or could be 10 years. I don't know.
I can't see it because of the financial system. Because this play is they've gone past the point of no return. Yeah, the financial system has to crash. It's been being propped up since 2008 by more and more money being injected into it.
Dave,
now, sorry.
I'm sorry. Finish, and then I'll make a comment.
I was going to say, but now with this kind of layoff that the whole world is seeing, there's no way the financial system can come back from that.
So that, I think that's their plan, though. They back off now and just let the financial system crash, where we don't even have words to describe it, where we could wish for a Great Depression. And all
these people that had their own businesses, all these small businesses, they're all going to have to disseminate into the major corporations. Yeah. And the corporations get stronger and they get bigger and they get more powerful, and then you've got a bunch of more people working for minimum wage, and the middle class is basically all but gone.
So just finishing what I was going to say is that happens, unrest happens, things just go to hell, and then the virus comes back again, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, or whatever. It comes back, and they're like, well, this time we're going to jump on it like India did, where they locked everybody down before they had 10 cases.
Right.
And then we have the vaccine ready. We have 10 billion vaccines, and everyone's going to be like, oh, they're so worn down at that point, people will just line up for the vaccine, because with the vaccine comes government aid.
Well, this is kind of like terrorists, isn't it? Where they've got a boogeyman they can drag out now anytime they want because they've scared the crap out of everybody.
That's what I mean. That's the change, just like 9/11, right? Now they can always bring up terrorism, and people tremble, and they're taking off their shoes. And by the way, Dave Murphy is awesome. I've been to the airport with him. He will not let them take him through that machine. He's one that stands up for it. I've watched it happen.
But this is why I think it's, because I've been saying for a while now that, this could be the dress rehearsal, and we don't know which one, but just look at the Illuminati cards, yeah? Simultaneous disasters, that's one of the cards. And that's what they're banking on. They want everything to happen all at once, so that there's nothing we can do. We can only panic. So I think the key here is the financial system. And it's said that it can't last much longer. It couldn't last much longer anyway. But now...
Could it last another year or two? And what I mean by that is that this is a great dress rehearsal for them. This is why the hospitals aren't filled up. This is why there's not a needing. But what this is a dress rehearsal, so that a year from now, 2 years from now, then people, it's kind of like predictive programming. It's the same thing. They've now programmed people that this is the response that needs to happen when there's a pandemic. So in 2 years, they can call this out again, only this time, like you said, Dave, make it immediate. That, there's a new pandemic. We need to shut everything down. All businesses go down. And everybody follows suit. It's not like a surprise to anybody because, hey, we've all been through it. You have to remember, this is the first time this has ever happened.
That's what
very, very long time.
Not quite.
That's what Brian on London Real was saying with his latest guest. He was talking about how India was so smart to lock it down before they even had cases, and that's why they didn't have a big outbreak. And they're basically programming with us, next time this happens, do like India did, quarantine and curfew.
Actually, they've been doing that about China. They've been praising China for their response, because now the coronavirus is over there. They're saying, because of China's social structure is, the citizens obey the government, right. Then that's the way they were able to stop this spread of the virus. So they're positioning China as a model, for society.
So I'm hoping that's and then they delay that until next time. The only reason I'm hoping that is because maybe we have more time to wake people up. Like, look, this is what's coming. They're going to do this again.
No, I think because the financial system. I mean, did you hear that at the beginning of this, they had to pump in, I think it's $2.1 trillion to keep the system going?
They can make
because every time they do quantitative easing, they have to put more money in, and it lasts for a shorter amount of time. So it's got a finite lifespan, and I think we've already come to that point where they can hold it up much longer. But if you sort of extrapolate to let's imagine the lockdown ends in a week's time. Okay, what's going to happen is millions of people, billions of people, are going to emerge from their houses realizing they haven't got a job. And they've got debts that they now have to pay because mortgages being suspended. Well, they're only being suspended. You're still going to pay it. You still got to pay what you've owed for the last month or two. And people haven't got jobs now, and where they're going to get the money from. The financial system, the markets are kind of on hold at the moment, but as soon as things try to get back to normal, it's all going to collapse. It's going to go crazy, and it's all going to happen all at once. And as I said, that's when the 5G gets switched on, and we won't be able to even comprehend what's going to happen.
Because the thing that I foresee happening is that to the everyday person, when they emerge a month from now, 2 months from now, they don't have jobs and everything else, but to them, they aren't sick. They're alive. And so to them, the government did a great thing. And it's up to them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get back out there and do it again. But the problem is then it comes again, and what happens at that point? But you're right. The system can't be held up for long. Eric DeLion said, tremendous discussion, guys. Thanks for the info and convo. And thank you very much for You Can Call Me Ray. But, and like I said, the more this goes on, the more I'm looking at it thinking, maybe they're going all the way with this one.
Well, this does seem like trauma-based mind control, the way they're pumping all this out and getting everybody quaking in their boots. I mean, once that has been implemented and they've got it pounded into their heads, they can rinse and repeat as needed from here. Now, here's the problem. Are they going for a big old fascist, socialist kind of thing where they're going to wipe out all the mom and pops and then they'll bring things slowly back online? But most of what's going to be left is the big box stores. You're going to have Amazon. You're going to have Walmart and all that. But what's going to be left as far as
a bunch of minimum wage workers?
Yeah. Right. And they have jobs, but they're not going to be independent business owners anymore because those all got wiped out. And whatever they didn't wipe out this time, they could just do it again, and then they're going to kill them all whatever's left.
But those jobs are going to go away. You've already seen, Amazon is being positioned as the, the shop, and Amazon is all set to get rid of all their workers. Even the delivery is going to be handled by drones now.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Sorry?
Said I'll believe that when I see it.
I'm already seeing it.
Drone deliveries?
Well, I mean, that's what's been positioned. It's like they're showing us, the drones carrying stuff.
Maybe smaller packages, but those drones aren't that big. I'm not doubting you that they're going to.
You've got drones that can carry people now.
I can't see it. People will be able to drive around and follow the drones and collect packages
and stuff, or shoot them out of the sky and take I see a lot of problems with this, just from a logistics standpoint.
You can hijack cars and trucks and stuff. It happens,
It's easier to hijack a car and a truck than it is to hijack a drone. And these drones are going to go across, waterways, and then there'll be drone delivery spots where they'll go, and then someone will distribute from there. They're not going to go to every household, at least for now.
Okay, that I could see happening. I thought you were talking about a drone coming to my front door.
The legislator here in Connecticut just approved a drone corridor between Connecticut and Long Island over the Long Island Sound. So they're planning on it.
Yeah, but Amazon definitely is going to take over. And now people are going to shop from their house, and even worse than it already is.
Yeah.
People aren't going to want to go out. They're not going to want to go to the grocery store. And it's going to become, certainly even if this goes away, how long even if it went away tomorrow, how long would people wear masks for? You'd be seeing masks till the end of the year.
Well, wait a second. I just had another thought that hadn't occurred to me before. What if they come up with some nonsense that this thing has mutated and it's become something else, and they just keep cranking this on and on and on till we're nothing but one great big scared society living off of everything digital?
Well, yeah, that's
we there already?
Or having to get a vaccine every single year until...
And you've got to have your vaccine card to be able to get on a plane or a bus or a train.
Card.
Cab.
Yeah.
Card. Once they get this universal basic income in place, yeah.
Well, a digital card, I should say.
It's not going to be digital. You're going to have to get the chip. That's where it's been.
Well, that's what I mean by digital. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to get the chip, otherwise you're not going to get your money. That's it.
What? You won't get your money? You won't get your free health care? What? You have to get the chip.
Yeah.
How dare you? Yeah, Sherlock Bones says dogs eat drones. Well, we'll have to see.
That'd be funny to watch.
Yeah, definitely. All right, you guys want to take some calls? They're lining up like crazy. Whoa, we got a ton. All right, so try and keep it short, guys, because we don't have a lot of time. Let's go to the first caller, 616. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this? Okay, right as they hung up. You were on hold 81 minutes, and you hung up. All right, we've got 214. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Hey, guys, I'm a big Allegedly Dave fan. I just want to start off by saying I love your debate style, especially on those British morning shows. You crush that girl about the moon landing. I really enjoyed that.
That's not me.
Let me make it quick. Well, let me make it quick. Okay, so I want to start off by saying, guys, this whole COVID thing, I think it started off as a drill, and it all came out of Italy, where the Vatican is, so we know it's all BS, and that we just willingly gave up the First Amendment. Last time I checked, they didn't cancel that. So we've done this all to ourselves. And you guys know this. But my question is for Allegedly Dave. I want to know, what is your thoughts on the Boule and Black Secret Society? Who runs that, and how do they fit into this, and how do they benefit from this? And like I said, I'm a big fan, and thank you for all the work you're doing. Please put me on hold so I can listen to the answer.
All right, thanks. Dave?
Right. Well, the Boule Society, this is, again, like the pyramid of control. So the control over society is complete. So you have lots and lots of these secret societies. The leaders of those societies become members of the societies above them, and so on up to the top of the pyramid where you've got the master control. So Boule and those societies are just nodes on the network. So just to keep the complete control over society.
All right, let's go to 469. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. What's up?
Hello?
Yep, you're on. What's up? You're on the air. 469. What's up?
Oh. About the 5G.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the exact same antenna. Yeah, it's the exact same antenna we use. The only thing we change is the module. The exact same thing we use for LTE, 3G, and I work on it for the last year and a half pretty much. I built the site, and now I'm troubleshooting the site every single day.
Troubleshooting 5G sites? That's what you do?
It's not the same site. It's one site, cover in a certain area, 2-mile radius, and you got 3G, LTE. So you got the LTE on L2100, the 2100 frequency band. Then you got the L1900, also LTE. Then you have the L700, also LTE. And the L600, which is 600, and I know all this stuff, and I have access to it. I have an antenna I can tear down, open, and show it to you guys. But, I can't do that on air.